everybody.
Okay, so second from the top, you'll see that I've got notes because I literally just watched this last night, and there was a bunch of stuff that
It's a lot of notes.
yeah.
It's becoming a two-parter.
No, because most of the stuff is just quick. So like, my movie is Event Horizon, which again was around the 95, 96 time period.
Yeah, around there.
This is literally, I think, the movie Sam Neill did Jurassic Park and then went into this one. I'm almost certain that this was how it went, but it might have been reversed.
I think he might have had In the Mouth of Madness in between there.
That's right. He did.
I believe he had that in between.
He hit a bunch right away.
Yeah.
But, and I said this to Kenneth right away, for me, this was one of the movies where I think this is one of Sam Neill's best roles. And spoilers all the way through. Like I'm gonna wreck stuff, but the whole premise of this is set in the space, and the whole purpose of this was that a ship called the Event Horizon went missing, and then it came back. So this ship, the Lewis and Clark, is sent there with Sam Neill's character Dr. Weir, who created the ship, to figure out where it went. Because the cover story was the Event Horizon exploded.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we realized that it wasn't the case, and part of the reason it's so interesting is because they figured out how to travel faster than light, right? And they're like, well, it's impossible, but really all it was, and this is in the movie, so they go, well, time is like this. So what we did was we figured out how to poke a hole here and here, and then full time it in itself. Okay?
Yep.
And the way they do it is through the actual core itself. So they go through interdimensional travel. On the maiden voyage, this thing disappears. Through the course of the movie, we find out that this thing went to a dimension that we might as well just call hell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And now the ship is alive and knows that the whole purpose is to destroy the ship, and it's going to do everything it can to keep the crew from doing it. And it does this by showing everybody it's their deepest, darkest fears and or failures. Okay? And it's really cool because we have a couple of supporting characters, Laurence Fishburne, Perry White, and Sean Pertwee, Alfred.
Right. Oh, man.
I know, like, when the movie was starting, I'm going like, holy fuck, this is hilarious, you know? So we've got Alan Grant in this, like, we got a whole geek load of characters in it, but, like, one of the things that I like right away is, it's on a ship in space, so there's that, like, aliens-like claustrophobia.
Yep. Which
is really cool. And I thought this was kind of funny. A lot of the movies, like especially horror movies, when they do space travel and stuff like that, you ever notice that it's like the people that are on these ships going into space are usually like blue collar workers?
Yeah.
I always thought that was kind of interesting, like miners or search and rescues. It's never like Star Trek, where this is like their job, and they're going out to see new life and new civilizations, right? It's just these like miners, like, oh yeah, you're gonna go into space. Well, we'll pay you a ton of money, and it's like,
you're a miner. We're gonna send you the ship made of metal that you're not gonna mine anything on. Sound good?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
And it's nothing glamorous about it, right?
Yeah.
But so there are jump scares in this. There's quite a bit of them, but rewatching the movie, like, I forgot that there was jump scares, and then when they were, and I know, like, that's a common complaint with horror flicks, but this was
biggest jump scare comes when you're, like, directed by Paul W.S.
Whoa! Yeah, I actually like this movie.
Wow!
Whoa!
Unbelievable!
But yeah, like, the jump scares,
I'm not saying I don't like it. If a movie has a jump scare, I'm not like...
But it was, like, enough in between, what I mean? And, like, of course, this is kind of those movies where they start to really build the tension, and once they start to, like, even just once the ship sort of wakes up and everything starts to happen, it's just, like, even just something as simple as having, like, how, like, in all the big blockbuster movies, there's, like, that womp, right?
Oh,
womp.
The Christopher Nolan effect.
The Nolan effect, right? Yeah. Well, this one, they have, like, this low-level, like, just like a heartbeat, so then you kind of pick up on it, and then you're just like, oh, okay, and then like they do like sort of like a pulse every time the core starts to wake up, or even just kind of open its eyes, so to speak. And I really feel like that's kind of what it was doing, because like it's hard to describe the core. It's one of those like like two circle things, and then it'll like sort of just kind of go up, and the lights go on, so it's almost like, okay, I'm up type of thing.
Yeah.
But even just the core itself really looked scary. Like once they got into the actual core room and they do like this weird, like it almost felt organic, and and they show clips of the ship, like when they went on the initial voyage and stuff like that. But like just the design was like just enough where you're like, oh, this is unnerving is the word, and like. What I really liked with Sam Neill, and this is what I was saying, like why I feel this is one of his best roles, is like, so Alan Grant, just a nice guy, just a good stoic guy, you know what I mean? Human. With Dr. Weir, he starts off, and almost immediately you're like, there's something off about this guy, even though like he was having some of these horrifying visions before he even got on the ship to the Lewis and Clark to find the Event Horizon. There's something off about him, and of course, as you get into the movie, you realize what exactly it is, and really what it is that that's his baby,
Yeah.
He created this thing. He doesn't want this destroyed, and he's the one that gets consumed by it the most, So that's page 1. See? You thought it was going to be that long. You thought it was going to be that long. But even, like, the design of the Event Horizon almost looks like a monster.
It really does.
Like it looked like just that scary fish, in the sea of stars, right? And I was like, that's one of those ones where I probably noticed it, but it's been like 10 years, 5-10 years since I've seen it. No, it's been about 10 since I watched it.
Yeah.
So when I watched it again, I was just like, oh, like the light structure looks like teeth. This looks like eyes. This looks like fins. Like it was just really like, oh, okay. So it's the kind of thing where you're like, yeah, this looks like it's going to kill me.
I'll stay on this ship, thanks.
But even just the way the ship gets you, like I liked that it was your deepest, darkest fears made real. But then they even have like a couple of quick shots of what it's like in the other dimension, and like just horrifying. But horrifying because there's not a lot of CGI, and especially in the actual scenes themselves with humans and stuff, there's really no CGI.
Yep.
So then when you see, shots of people like tied up with like almost like barbed wire, and you see like the cuts and stuff like that, it is real. It's more real than it would be if it was all just CGI.
It's very Clive Barker-ish.
Yes.
And
yes.
I watched Event Horizon before I actually watched Hellraiser or any Clive Barker film. So watching that, just like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
And it actually, when I heard people going, oh, it's like a Clive Barker film, I was like, I don't know if I want to watch a Clive Barker film because this is fucked.
Yeah, and I mean,
this is so fucked up.
We're talking about like Clive Barker. This is a perfect time to reference him too, is because like with Hellraiser movies, I never watched the first one. I watched the second one and the third one. The second one was crazy awesome, but that was one of those where like they did just a good enough job of being like legit scary, but also had enough gore in there.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oof.
Yeah, I actually prefer the second Hellraiser to the first, just because I like being able to see where all these things are coming from.
And I think that's why I never.
The first had a very small, low budget feel to it.
I think that's why I never really watched the first one either. It was because like, I was already like, you watch the part where they ramp everything up, so then it's kind of hard to go back to that. Like it's not like when you watch. What was it? I watched Friday the 13th 2 before I watched the first one, right?
Yeah.
So I had no idea, and I mean like you're conditioned that it's Jason.
Yeah.
So then when you watch the first one and you realize it's not, that's a great, like, you're not losing out on anything.
No.
It'd be like watching Friday the 13th 3 and then going to 2. That's how I feel like.
The Friday the 13th films are kind of like, they take place in the same universe, but they're telling their different stories. So you can watch that second before the first. You can watch the third before the second, like, easily. It's not hard. I actually think the third is probably my favorite of all of them, to be just because I really love the final girl in that film.
I have not seen the third one in forever.
Yeah.
And I remember when I did watch it, I was at that stage where I was kind of getting tired of that style of horror flick.
Yeah.
And I was always more of a Freddy and Chucky kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
But even like with Chucky, like later on, they started to follow the Freddy route where they got more funnier.
They're hilarious now. I just watched Cult of Chucky, the new one.
I actually tried to watch it and I shut it off because I was like, eh.
I enjoyed it.
I really
enjoyed it. And I liked that they brought back the kid from the first movie. And it's the same actor.
That I thought was really
It's actually, it's him.
I actually thought that was really cool. I will finish it because, I mean, I saw all the other ones.
Yeah.
So I have to. But, like, that one's going to be one where I almost feel like they should just do a hard reboot on it. But really follow closely to the first one. Because the first one was, like, not a horror flick per se. It's a slasher thriller.
Yeah.
You know, with a supernatural bent to it, obviously, because of the voodoo aspects. But, sorry, getting back to this guy. Yeah,
I threw you off on that.
That's fine.
Sorry. That was my fault.
The underlying message, too, I thought was kind of neat, where you have, like, Laurence Fishburne is the stoic captain.
Yep.
Okay. And he is just like everyone else. He's got a failure that eats at his core, and the ship is trying to kill him through that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but, like, ultimately the message is overcoming your fears. You know, don't let it kill you.
Yeah.
So, which I thought was really cool. And I was like it when, like, you can find a message in a movie, even something as dark as Event Horizon, and it's almost just, it makes it feel better, like, when I rewatch it, I'm like, yeah, alright. But,
yeah, I gotta rewatch it now, because you talked about it. I enjoyed it the first time. I enjoyed it the second time.
Yeah.
Of course, it threw me off the first time, because I was like, yeah, Alan Grant. You know, and you're just like, whoa! And same with In the Mouth of Madness, like, wow, you don't realize that fucking Sam Neill makes some really fucked up movies.
Or he signs on to them.
Yeah.
But the final scene is just bonkers.
Yeah.
The whole purpose, now, like, Sam Neill's character, the whole purpose is to take the Event Horizon and whatever remaining crew members that are still alive and go back to the dimension it went to in the first place. That's his whole purpose.
Okay.
So, like, and he's into the shit now. Like, he gouged his eyes out. Like, so he's all just blind as fuck. And that's it. That's his whole purpose. And I was just like, Jesus. You know, and they do have, like, a fight scene, you know, which, when you have when your bad guy is, like, a scientist, and then he's throwing, like, kicks and punches, it kind of throws me, and I'm always, sometimes I have to just say, okay, well, that's the ship.
Yeah.
You know, he's possessed by the ship, so now
the ship knows martial arts.
Yeah, so he can fight better than Laurence Fishburne, who is the captain of this ship. But he's trained, right? But regardless, it was just it's like just that whole sort of little dark thing where you're just like, ugh, and then finally, like, they of course they kill the Dr. Weir, they kill the ship and everything like that. But the cool part is that you get down to white guy, black guy, and a woman survive. So in the middle of the 90s, you have...
Very strange, right? In the middle of the 90s?
Yeah. Like, I just thought it was so funny. Like, now it's almost like they would beat you over the head with it and just be like, hey, the black guy and the woman, they lived.
Yeah.
You know, hey, we're not racist or sexist. But, like, what was it? Deep Blue Sea. I remember we were both really surprised.
LL Cool J lived.
That they killed the chick off.
Yeah.
And LL Cool J lived and Thomas Jane lived, and we were both just like, oh, wow. Oh.
Wow, yeah, I thought all three of them were going to get out of there.
Yeah.
I love that movie, though.
Deepest Bluest.
My head is like a shark fin.
But, like, yeah, so, like, I mean, that's one of those movies where I realize now that I went too long without watching.
Yeah.
You know? And I think I had it in my head that the CGI wasn't as good, so I think that's why I held off, but, like, forcing myself to watch it, and it was, because I was like, you know what, alright, fine, I better do it, because I almost remember just being, like, legit scared, but also just, like, really liking the story. Like even the concept of punching a hole through space it's always really cool for a sci-fi guy, and then to have like that horror bent on top of that was just like.
I'm a sucker for sci-fi horror.
Yeah, I realize that. That's
but then it's kind of like,
to...
and it's kind of the reason why today, like some of my like these are my top 3, but there's at least a couple more that I'll watch more than these top 3. And the only reason I kept them off today is because they had that sci-fi to them, and I was just like, oh, where do I put it? Right? Is it more sci-fi than horror?
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean?
For me, I just kind of went with whatever legit scared me.
Yeah,
so
like Event Horizon.
I really like the most.
Event Horizon's horror. Like that's straight up.
Yeah, it's a horror movie with like a sci-fi backdrop. That's
exactly.
All it is,
exactly.
Which is really good. But even like a movie like this isn't horror, but like Triangle.
Okay.
Where have you seen that?
I do.
The premise is.
I think it's familiar. I might have watched it.
What's her name? Rashta Mitchell or whatever.
Okay, I think I did see it.
She was in Pitch Black.
Yep.
Okay. Basically, she ends up like with a group of people. They are on a big ocean liner.
Did see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That one could be a sci-fi slasher flick. You know what I mean? But like, that is just really good because it's time loop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you could argue that it's a time loop, but yeah.
That was a good flick. Yeah. So that's your.
That's my second.